Namaste. My name is Neelima. Welcome to Reflections Along the Way podcast, where you will be listening to reflections from experiences and learnings along my life's journey. In the previous episode, we spoke about the play of gunas and how these gunas affect our ability to experience our true self, which is the pure consciousness, Brahman, as stated by Vedanta. Depending on our own mix of gunas, we perceive the world in a certain way, and we perceive our relationship to the supreme reality also in a certain way. Each of us has different mix of gunas, and that's what makes each of us unique also. And based on our own mix of gunas, we perceive the world and we perceive the relationship to the pure consciousness differently. To an ordinary person, his body is himself. So the identification with his body is very, very strong. He lives for the body, he strives for the body, and he sees nothing else as a goal for life than seeking sensuous enjoyments. For a person who is in that state, the only relationship to the supreme reality can be of separateness. He sees himself to be very different from the rest of the world. He doesn't see himself as a part of the whole. Now, to another section of people who are a little bit more evolved, they recognize that they are not only just their bodies, but they're also beings with a mind and intellect. For those people, the human being is a sacred creature who possesses godly powers in the manifestation of mind and intellect. So those kinds of people study science, poetry, they recognize all the great thinkers, all the great discoveries of the world. They see man as a glorious thinking creature who might not be much inferior to that of God. For people with this degree of development, they see the relationship to the reality is that of being a part of the whole. So because all of us are like having such different natures, Indian saints have provided different approaches to truth. Dualism, qualified non-dualism, non-dualism. Dualism or Dvaita concludes that the Lord and his devotee are two different entities. The relationship that the devotee has with the Lord is of complete surrender in love and reverence. And the goal of humankind, the supreme goal of humankind, is to surrender to him, to reach his feet and to remain there in his service. Now the next approach is qualified non-dualism or Vishishta Advaita. This contends that devotee is part of the whole, the Lord, not separate from him. There's only one entity. The third approach is non-dualism or Advaita Vedanta, which concludes that man is in essence God. A student of dualism views the truth in reference to his body, and a student of qualified non-dualism views the truth with reference to his psychological personality. The perfect student of Vedanta, however, he discovers that neither his body nor his mind or intellect component is really himself. He feels that there is some other power which is more subtler than the mind and intellect component within him. To this student, the Guru endorses the conclusions, provides him with all the arguments, and leads him to that center, that life, that self that lies within the seeker himself. When that student who comes to understand the significance of the teacher's words and meditates upon his true nature, he experiences firsthand that he himself is that which he was seeking. He gains that perfect knowledge and he becomes self-realized. Hanuman, who is a great devotee of Sri Rama, describes these three kinds of relationship to the truth in Ramayana as he relates his relationship to his guru. Hanuman says, "O Lord, at moments when I am steeped in my body consciousness, I am your slave. When I identify myself with my mind and intellect, I am a part of you. And when I am one with my own nature as the spirit, I am yourself." So our relationship with that supreme reality can be explained in three different ways depending on our own state of mind. Even the greatest sage has moments when he is conscious of the sorrows of physical pain. At those moments, even he falls at the Lord's feet and mentally seeks his mercy. In other moments, he may be conscious of some mental agitation and an irresistible outburst in form of poetry, art, or any other expression. And in those moments, he recognizes a power within himself that is almost a part of the Lord himself. And in those moments when he's completely retired from the outer coverings of matter, be it the body, mind, or intellect, he sees himself as, "I am that." So at that point, there's no difference between the individual and the supreme reality. They constitute one perfect whole. So these three schools of thought, dualism, qualified non-dualism, and non-dualism, they are not competing with each other or they're not contradicting theories. They are just explanation of different stages that we must pass through in our spiritual journey to reach that peak of perfection. Swamiji says that only the intellectual pandits who are trying to establish one school of thought as superior to the other quarrel. When we step on the path of spiritual practice, we realize that these three are three pilgrimages where we rest and proceed ahead. Every pilgrim must first visit Madhvacharya, who is the main exponent of dualism, from where he proceeds to worship Ramanuja, who is the main exponent of qualified non-dualism, and then alone he can reach the portals of Vedanta, Sri Shankaracharya, who is the main exponent of Advaita Vedanta, where he can find his ultimate release from the bondage of Maya.
Thank you for listening to today's reflections. If you would like to connect with me, please visit bluishmuse.com. Until next time, Namaste.